Everyone today. This is the Let's Talk show with Martin Stevens from Progression and Development. My name is Genevieve of Genevision Media, and I'd like to welcome you today for joining us. We're going to have a powerful session. We're going to learn some things about unlocking your potential, and we're just going to have a good time. Now, I just hope everyone's having a good week. We hear that it is called Blue Monday today, which is supposed to be the day when everyone is feeling low and down in the dumps, maybe just recovering and realizing how much money you actually spent for Christmas time, and just generally just getting back into reality. I don't know about you, but it's been quite a rainy day up here in the Midlands. But you know what? I just really had to take in the beauty of, excuse me, I just had to take in the beauty of the surroundings that I live in. Today I went into a different area, lots of fields and canals and just a beautiful environment. And it just made me feel so relaxed, even though it was raining and grey. It was just taking in the beauty of everything was just magnificent for me. So I just hope that everyone kind of looks at the positives in life, and regardless of things that you may be going through in life, there's so much beauty around us. Just look at whether you find beauty in nature, whether you find it in your children, whether you find it in just having a roof over your head. We all have to be so grateful with the things that we have around us. So yeah, we're just gonna get straight into our talk with Mr. Martin Stevens. He is the founder of Progression and Development, and he has coined the phrase "get your pad and pen." So welcome, Martin Stevens. I hope I've taken your mute. Hi there. Do you wanna see it? Go ahead. You're there.
Hello there.
Hi, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. I just missed the end part of what you were saying, so I'm guessing that you wanted me to tell you a little bit about myself.
Yeah, definitely. Tell us about yourself.
Okay, so indeed, I'm Martin Stevens of Progression, and I'm the proud founder of it because it's a business venture or idea that was birthed from a New Year's resolution back in 2010, I believe, and it was simply just a thing where I had a list of different resolutions of things I wanted to achieve, and one of them, I think probably the last one, was that I wanted to progress and develop in every area of my life, whether it be as a father, as a husband, as a employee, whatever it is that I'm doing, I just want to always be developing myself. So that was one of my resolutions, and then come a year later, when I was kind of feeling out and searching out what it is I wanted to do in life, when I came up with the idea of wanting to, inspire people to be better versions of themselves, if you like, I needed a name for the business, and it came back to me that one of my resolutions was to progress and develop in every area of my life. So I thought, well, let me use that name. So I searched to see if anyone had it. Lo and behold, it was unique, so I registered it, and we have PAD today.
Excellent. So basically, this was birthed from one of your resolutions. So it's really a pertinent time of the year to really be talking about, how your business came about and what your business is actually doing. But before we get into talking about progression and development, I did play a little snippet of Martin Luther King's speech. And I know that you've told me in the past that you were actually named after Dr. Martin Luther King. So can you just give us kind of your views of how much he has influenced you in your life, and what you feel, especially as we're living in a day where, you know, we're going through Brexit, and you know, we just America's just experienced Donald Trump becoming, they're going to be their new president. Do you think that his dream has been, you know, has come to life, or do you think that we've almost gone back from what his vision was for us?
Okay, well, yeah, so first and foremost, when I was a youngster, I think I must have been about maybe 11 or 12. I really didn't like my name, wasn't keen on my name at all. I thought, how could I have been given the name Martin? I don't know anybody named Martin, and I didn't really think that suited me or fitted me. And it came to a point where I was kind of just getting really frustrated with it. And I thought, well, let me at least ask my parents, you know, let me ask my mom, why was I named Martin? And she said, oh, well, you know, your dad was a big fan of Martin Luther King. And because of that, that's the reason why she named you Martin, him. And when she told me that, my demeanor, my view of my name completely changed. And I've fallen in love with it since, and it's been, I think, a great inspiration to me to know that I was named after such a dynamic and wonderful person, such as Mr. Luther King. In relation to your question about his dream and his legacy, it's a great question. I do believe that his legacy still lives on and will continue to live on, because his message was a message of hope and a message of love, which is part of the enduring spirit of the human being, and relies less on tangible things. So where it's a message of love and hope, it's something that can be within your heart, within your spirit, and nobody can take that kind of integrity away from you because it's within you. Martin Luther King, I believe, also was a prophet, because in a very, very little known recording, there is footage of him where he actually predicted that from 40 years from the time when he said it, that America would see a black president. And it's, I don't know why it's not been really broadcast much, but I did post it in one of my new history groups. And so said, so done. Mr. Barack Obama came into office exactly 40 years after he made that prediction, or after he prophesied, as I prefer to see it. So it was timely, and he was on point with his message, and I believe his legacy will live on. And in light of what's happening now with the office being taken over by Trump, well, what can we say? I think it's also wise to bear in mind, in light of the fact that a man like Steve Harvey, who's recently taken a lot of flack for turning up to a meeting that he was invited to by Donald Trump, a lot of people, even his close friends, a lot of comedic close friends of his, have turned against him, turned on him really in a vicious and rather vulgar way by you know, condemning him for turning up, and then after the meeting looking so jovial and saying, you know, things that were pleasant about Mr. Trump. But how I see it is that he hasn't done anything wrong. In fact, I think he was turning up. The reason I say that is because it's better to have somebody on the inside of an organization or a government like that that's influential, the people of color at their heart on the inside, rather than us being excluded from being on the team. Because if you look at it like this, if Trump had his own way and only had people that were like-minded, just like him, that had that vulgar type of you know, racist views and these kind of bigoted and prejudiced views in his establishment or in his office, then we would see, and there'd be constant riots, there'd be constant mayhem, there'd be constant, there'd be an increase in hate crimes, and I think the terrorists would have a field day with America as well. in his office or on his staff, if you like, such as Ben Carson, and the fact that he's had Steve Harvey come down as well, it allows us to have somebody on the inside to represent us and to speak for us, to provide a voice for us. So I really do hope, the people that are turning against Steve Harvey kind of take a step back and think about things, because things would be very different if he wasn't there. I heard a wise man say today, he put it like this, that if you have a football team and the most influential person or one of the influential players is on the substitutes bench, he has no impact on the game. Therefore, if you have the person come onto the pitch to take part in the game, he has some input, he has some influence. So I see it like that. I think that whilst Trump is in office, I think we should just watch this space. He's not the ideal president by far. He's by far he's not the ideal president. However, if there are people that are able to be involved in his staff that we can recognize and identify with, let's see how things pan out.
Brilliant. And just going back to the UK and with Brexit, and you talked about hate crime. It seems that hate crime has actually risen in this country, because apparently where your mother gave birth to you is such a big deal to us at the moment. What do you have to say about I know that you spoke a lot, you had a lot of views at the time, encouraging people to vote, and just looking at what the climate is saying, like us leaving Europe now. How do you feel that that is going to be beneficial to us, and especially our children, as it seems that the younger people actually wanted to be a part of Europe? So now it's like the older generation has made this decision. Do you think that it is based on quote unquote racism or prejudice, or do you think it is really a smart move of us feeling that there's not enough jobs for British people in this country, there's not enough housing for British people in this country, and we need to kind of take control? What do you have to say about that?
It's a huge issue. It's a huge issue, and it will be a lasting legacy in David Cameron's archives. I mean, you're right. I had a lot to say on it, and my views were, before June the 23rd, it was a thing where I was saying to people, look, there's something that's mandatory. You must vote. You must vote. You must cast your vote, whether you're for it, whether you're against it, whether you want to leave or whether you want to stay remain. You must vote. Now, the other thing I was saying in my videos at the time was that regardless of what you vote for, whatever the outcome will be, you've got to prepare yourself for it. And my reason for saying that is because change is inevitable. Change must come. And whether it was to come now or to come later, change must come. And whenever change comes, you have to adjust to it anyway. So as much as I was one who was voting for remaining in the EU, I was already conditioning myself to say, well, if it's a thing where we do leave, then I've got to be ready for it mentally, rather than have the shock of thinking, oh my goodness, I've been thinking that we're going to stay, and now that we're not staying, everything, my world's going to come crumbling down and all these kind of things. No, we've got to be rational and think things through, think about a plan B, think about alternatives and so on and so forth. So my message was one where I was trying to make people aware of the fact that regardless of what happens that's outside of your control, you take care of what's within your control. I went on a training course recently, and it was a thing where we was talking about a particular process in the line of work that I do. And the formula that they were looking at and that we were examining was an event plus your response equals the outcome. An event plus your response equals an outcome. I hope your listeners really do have their notepads with them today, because today is really going to be some gems. Yeah, an event plus your response equals the outcome. This means, in other words, an event is usually outside of your control. When something happens, it's nothing that you've done. It's something that's happened elsewhere. So when an event happens, how you respond to it will determine an outcome within your sphere, within your atmosphere, within your circle. So therefore, the fact that we're now leaving the EU, if you voted for remaining, how you respond to it is going to determine how your outlook is going to be. So it's about bracing themselves. And I did record a 4-minute piece of spoken word that I posted on YouTube on the topic as well of the leaving of the Brexit, which surprisingly done very well as far as shares and so on were concerned.
Brilliant. Event plus response equals outcome. I just love that, because it's so true. It is so true that it really depends on how you're going to react to something. It depends on what the result of that thing can be. You can walk away, you can be calm, or you can go hyper and create a whole load of drama. I agree with that 100%. So Martin, I also wanted to talk to you before we go into talking about business and unlocking your potential, because one thing that I have to say is that I'm in awe of just the way that you are, being a family man, promoting family in the first instance, having a lovely wife by your side, beautiful children. So can you just share with the listeners, because I'm so fed up of hearing women saying that there's no good men out there, and just always bashing one another, and always having a bad stereotype of a black male, especially around your age group. So I just want you to tell the listeners a little bit about your family, what your like, your beliefs, your faith, your how important family is, because I know I know you owe a lot to your wife. You speak so highly of her, and I know she's a lovely person herself. And you've got beautiful children. I've seen them walking around the street, and they're not like them crazy children that you're just embarrassed to even know, but they're just so pleasant as you meet them. So I just want you to talk a little bit about your family life and your faith, and how important it is to you and your development.
Oh wow, that's it's my pride and joy. My family is for the large part, or for the most part, one of my key motivations. They are certainly one of the foundational reasons why I continue to do what I do, to inspire other people. It's part of the foundational reasons of why progression and development, as far as I'm concerned, will be here to stay. Because I really want to give back to people and give people the opportunity to discover new things, to discover things about themselves, and to be educated in various different areas of their life, to really kind of similarly share a dream like myself, where I want to progress and develop in every area of my life. I'd love for other people to have that kind of a mindset and that kind of passion as well. So, for it to be my motivation, my family to be my motivation, especially, for my children to see what I do, to physically see what I do, so that they can know that, this type of living is possible, to live, to serve, to help other people, to be kind, to be different, to be unique, to stand out, to be bold, to make a mark on the world, is something that I'm really inspired to convey to other people. When I reflect back on things that my mum used to teach me, one of the things that I used to hear my mum saying was, when I was sitting down watching TV, she would say something like, For them people life set already. In patois. In English, that means, you know, those people's lives are already set. And what she meant, because I never really got that at the time when she used to say it, but what she was in actual fact saying is that those people that you're watching are living their life. As in, you're watching people who are presenting programs, you're watching people who are presenting, you know, the news, or they're entertaining people, they're singing, they're dancing, they're, you know, whoever it is you're watching on TV, they're on TV because they've made it, or they're on their journey, and they're making progress in their lives. Whilst we are the ones sitting down, procrastinating on everything. We have our dreams and our wishes, our goals, and we're doing nothing about it other than just letting them, you know, just rotate in our head. But then we sit down and then amuse ourselves by watching amusement, watching entertainment. You know, we see these people that we love and adore, especially in this day and age now where celebrities are coming out of the woodwork. We're still just sitting down and watching other people do something and make something of their life, whether it's 15 minutes of fame or whether it's 15 years plus of enduring, you know, celebrity status. We're watching other people. But what are we doing? What mark are we living? You know, leaving? What legacy are we leaving? And when I think about the fact that people like, you know, in 2016, so many people, so many legends passed away. You know, and I think it was when Prince passed away, and, you know, Whitney Houston, and you know, Victoria Wood and Terry Wogan and so many other people who have done so many fantastic things. When they passed away, and these, knowing that these are people we grew up watching, the fact that they're gone, you can still pop onto YouTube or Google or something, or even into the library, or purchase a book from Waterstone about their life. But then so many of us who are sitting down watching these people, when we pass away, what are we leaving behind? What goes on after us? What is there to say that we were here on earth? You know, and for some people, that's a dreaded question. And but to come back to my family, for me, my family are very important to me, to the point where I even wrote a spoken. I've written a number of pieces about my family. I wrote a song for both my sons when they were born, and I performed it at their christening. And I've written one as well about my family, and, you know, how they had their names, what their names mean, and so on and so forth, because they are special to me, and they're a great motivating force for me. My wife is indeed beautiful, both inside and out. She's very wise, and whenever I run things by her, she'll always give me a perspective that I would not have seen. So I always value her input. And because I didn't grow up with my father, I'm always trying to be a good example to my children, to say, well, look, I'm here and you can ask me any questions. I'm bonding with them. Every day when they come home from school, they know that they have to tell me 3 different things that they learned for the day, because that's always what I'm going to ask them. What 3 things did you learn today? And I need to know 3 different things in different areas, and it can't be the same thing as yesterday. You've got to be developing yourself. So they know that. They've always known that from primary school. And I hope that this will be something that they pass on to their children. And 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 yeah, for me, it's just to know that my family are who I've been blessed with and given, you know, a wonderful heavenly responsibility to look after them. I just strive to do the best I can for them.
That's beautiful. Beautiful words from Martin there. Could you just give us 3 quick tips if for a man that would like to gain motivation by, you know, meeting a beautiful woman inside and out? Just 3 quick tips before we go on to the next section.
Oh man, for 3 tips for a man to find a woman, yeah, to find the right woman.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. I would say first and foremost, and I'm winging this, but definitely the first thing is always going to be, from me, get to know yourself first. The individual has to get to know themselves first. And I say this, but it's a huge thing that I'm actually saying, because there are so many people that do not know themselves, and I'm very serious with that. There are too many people that do not know enough about themselves, and if you don't know enough about yourselves, so many things are going to come as a shock to you as life progresses on. So before you want to try and get involved in anybody else's life, get to know yourself first. Now, what do I mean by that? It's something that I teach in my workshops, so it's too lengthy to go into as a tip here. But get to know yourself. Yeah, without going into details in my of what I put in my workshop, I would very much stress for them to get to know themselves. You know, how they learn, how they, you know, what their preferences are, what their ambitions are, what their goals are. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Are you working now? What can you bring to a relationship when you do meet somebody? Those kind of things is what I'm talking about when I say get to know yourself. You know, I guess that kind of rolls into the second one, as in, like, you know, prepare yourself, really. So let me separate that out. So first, get to know yourself, who you are, how you're made up, you know, where you're at, you know, how do you learn, what are your preferences, what are your ambitions. Step 2 would be prepare yourself. I'd say prepare yourself in the sense that, you know, make sure that you have something to bring to a relationship, you have employment, you have a vehicle, you have a home. I'm not saying that you have to definitely have these things before the relationship, because you can meet someone and develop these things together with the person. But what I'm essentially saying is analyze yourself and question yourself to say, what would I bring to the relationship? Rather than just saying, well, look, I see this beautiful woman, she looks nice and she look good on my arm. You know, you need to see beyond that. You need to look further than that, because a woman can be beautiful on the outside but very ugly on the inside, and you won't discover that at stage 1, or just from scratching the surface. So know yourself, and then prepare yourself, as in, you know, identify with what you bring to a relationship. The third thing I would say is, when you feel that you've found a potential lady, I would say have effective conversations. Have effective conversations. And what I mean by that is, rather than just you know, going out to cinemas together and having, you know, little meals and these kind of things, and having superficial conversations, have deep conversations, not too deep, but, you know, questions that will be probing what the other person's goals and ambitions are, you know, where they see themselves in 5 to 10 years, maybe even 20 years. You know, will your lives still be in sync with each other further down the road? Because if you can establish those things early on and know those things early on, it will save the embarrassment, or rather the heartbreak, of realizing that when it's too late, and then having to, you know, go about finding ways to break it off, or one person cheats on the other, and these kind of horrible things as well. So those would probably be the 3 tips that I would give. But whenever I do teach on the subject of love and relationships, though, I am mindful that there are 2 different perspectives. There is the secular, you know, the secular view, and then there's also those who are of a moral standard, or biblical standard, as I say, because my background is a Bible believer, you know, a Christian. And so the way that you would address this matter for Christians would be very much different for how you would address non-Christians. But those would be my 3 pointers, though. Get to know yourself, prepare yourself, and have effective conversations.
Beautiful, beautiful. We may go back to that in a moment, because I'm sure that you could impart a lot of knowledge to the believers as well. So we might come back to that later on. But I want to talk about your slogan, unlocking your potential. Now, you know, I was very offended by your first Facebook live video. I'm not going
Good.
to lie. When you said, you can do better, and we need to.
Underperforming.
Sorry, we're underperforming, and you know what? I sat down and thought about it for a good while, and I was like, you know what? He's actually right, and it probably gets me more riled up when somebody's right. So, presently, I am kind of, we talk about comfort zone and stretch zone. So,
Yeah.
you get to your stretch zone, and once you reach there, you kind of relax back and think, yeah, I've done it. I've achieved what I want to achieve. But then what you fail to remember is that now becomes your comfort zone.
That's
So
right.
you can now expand a bit more and go back into that stretch zone. So what I was doing, I was dipping a little toe, maybe the little toe, then maybe the big toe, and thinking that I could maybe just, paddle into it and, just not take it really seriously. And I've come to the realization that now you've got to dive right in there. You've got to dive into the freezing cold stretch zone. Do you know what I mean? So let's talk about what is actually potential. What does potential actually mean, and how do we unlock it? Well, first of all, we'll start with what is potential.
Okay, so potential. Before I answer that question, let me just say that unlocking potential is not unique to me, though. I have seen many people running workshops or seminars under the name Unlocking Potential or Unlocking Your Potential. So there are a number of people that do those kind of workshops or seminars. However, I'm very happy to say that I've never been one that's jealous or envious of anyone anyone else's work. So I'm in running those workshops, what I offer. So that's what I would say first and foremost. So anytime you see an Unlocking Potential workshop and it's by PAD, you're in for a treat. So getting to answering the question, potential. What is potential? Potential comes from a word that is the word potent, meaning power. Potent means power. And when you look at the word potential, the word potential means stored power. Stored power, as in, for example, like a battery. A battery is stored power or stored energy. When you put a battery into something, the power is there, just waiting to be used, waiting to be unlocked. It's waiting to be activated. So whether it's a battery in a remote control, or whether it's a battery in a car, or yeah. So for example, in a car, if you there's a battery in every car, and as the car stays on the road or in the garage overnight, the power is in that battery, ready to be used in that car all the time. But it will do nothing, or it's benefiting nobody until a key is put into the ignition and it's then turned on to kick it over. And then the benefits that's in the battery are then activated. So it's always ready. It always has the potential of being able to activate a device or equipment or whatever it is that the battery's put into. But it's just potential until the potential has been tapped into, or until potential. So potential.
We're losing you a little bit there, Martin. Do you want to just repeat that again?
Yeah, I had a couple of phone calls coming through. I think that might have been what was interrupting it. So potential is stored energy, meaning that it won't be released until it's tapped into, until it's unlocked. So you can identify that with our own lives. We have potential within our lives, we have the energy or the ability to do various different things, but unless either the circumstance or situation arises for that potential to be used or realized, we're just sitting dormant, waiting to be used, waiting for an opportunity. Or unless we get up off of our behinds and activate our own potential, or create the opportunity for our potential to be realized, will always just remain potential. Another analogy for potential is looking at a seed. A seed, when you plant a seed into a plant plot, or you put a seed into the ground in the garden, it's the potential within the seed is huge, because there could be a whole oak tree within a seed, or there could be a daffodil within a seed. Whatever the particular seed is, the potential of becoming that huge thing that it's supposed to be is all stored in that seed until that seed goes into the ground and is then watered.
That is beautiful analogies. That's just kind of put off a light bulb moment in my head when you started talking about it being like a power source or a battery or even a seed. It's just such a brilliant analogy. I'm just going to read out in the chat. Naima said, potential for me isn't generic. It can mean something different for many people. And then she also said, like how people learn differently, we also have different standards to which what potential means to us. Nurturing potential, cultivating potential. And she also said Martin's workshops are awesome. So, yeah, she's
Thank you, Naima.
bigging up your workshops. So,
Naima is a big fan. Naima is a big fan.
yeah, beautiful person as well. I want her on the show. She doesn't know that yet, but I suppose she will.
She will now. Lots of love to you, Naima. And to your daughter. Happy birthday to your daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, so how I'm going to ask how we unlock the potential, but why do you think that a lot of people's potentials are not unlocked as well? I don't know which order you want to answer that in and what order it should be answered, but why do you think we don't know what our potentials are and why it cannot be unlocked? And then how do we unlock our potential?
Two things that come to mind in relation to that question. Why our potential is not unlocked. Firstly, I would say it's because of the of what I describe as a disease that we all have, and the only thing is that this disease that we all have is within us in different measures. Some of us have a small amount, some of us have a medium amount, some of us have a huge amount. Many of us have a large amount, as did myself, and to some degree, I still have this quote unquote disease. And the name of this disease is called procrastination. Now, what procrastination is it's a thing where you know that you're supposed to do something, but you don't get around to doing it, or you keep putting it off to another day, you keep putting it off for whatever reason, or you make up excuses as to why you can't do it. You don't have enough time, you don't have enough money, you don't have the resources, you're not confident enough, people are going to talk about you. Whatever it is that's putting you off from making your idea become a reality is your procrastination. Your level of procrastination as well is going to be what holds you back. And unless you have the right people in your circle to either motivate you or inspire you, or to help you get over the hurdles, or to get over the self-doubt or the negative talk, you'll always kind of find yourself restricted and not finding yourself in a position of beating the procrastination that you'll be quote unquote suffering with. Another reason why people don't unlock their potential, which I've recently discovered, can be down to the fact that you haven't yet discovered what your gift is. Now, everybody has a gift. Everybody has a gift. And up until up until maybe a year or so ago, I was umming and ahhing about whether that statement was actually true. Does everybody really have a gift? But yes, I can confirm that everybody does have a gift. It is biblical, and I do believe it. And in the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 16, it says that a man's gift will make room for him and bring him before great men. Or if you want to generalize it, you could say a person's gift will make room for them and bring you before great people. Now, the only problem is that you've got to discover what your gift is in order for your gift to make room for you. And until you discover what your gift is, you'll find that you'll always be frustrated over different things and frustrated over people or circumstances and so on and so forth. So you've got to know what your gift is. Now, a person can have more than one gift. Of course they can. They can have 2, 3, several gifts. Some people may just have the one. But whatever your gift is, you've got to discover it. And once you've discovered it and you know what your gift is, work on it, develop it, research it, learn as much as you can about it, train yourself within that gift area, and so on and so forth. And finally, just to end that point about the gifting, if it's the thing where you don't know what your gift is, which many people won't know what their gifting is, this can be because a gift is not necessarily something that's visual. It's not necessarily something that can be seen. So, for example, you could be watching Britain's Got Talent all day for inspiration to see if you see somebody on there that has a gift that you might feel that you can identify with, because you might secretly be a person that can juggle or can do magic tricks or can balance on a tightrope or can keep balls up in the air and all these different kind of things. No, not necessarily. A gift does not necessarily have to be something visual or something that you can see. A gift can be as hidden as having the ability to listen and to listen well, because that is a skill. Not everybody can listen. People can hear, but they're not really registering. And to be able to listen to somebody without interjecting and without condemning people, that can be a gift. A gift can be, yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we ought to listen more than we speak, and many people fail in that area. Likewise, the gift of having patience, being a patient person in this day and age where people want things instantly. In the microwave generation, we want things now. It can be a gift where you can be a person that's patient, and you're patient to the point where you're able to or willing to help other people because of the patience that you have. And that could be manifested in a way of maybe being a driving instructor. I remember when I gave my wife driving lessons, and I used to tell people about it, and they said, "Really? If I was to do that, man, that wouldn't work. That wouldn't go down well at all." But I was patient enough to sit with my wife and see things from her perspective. So being kind, being patient, being able to demonstrate love, to be caring, to listen, they're not things that you can see, but they can be seen as a gift, and that can be a gift that would be possibly be one of your callings. Counselors are great listeners, the gift of wisdom, so I hope that helps people as well in their search for their gift.
Well, Martin, I can definitely say that it seems you've been given the gift of being able to foresee what people are saying, because in the chat there was a question asked by Gaylan, what about those who don't know what they are supposed to do? So you've kind of answered that question by looking at what gifts you have, and it might not necessarily be visual. And I think Naima has kind of agreed with you, saying that seeing what skills and gifts you have, that should be an indicator. So that's an interesting point, looking at whether you're a patient person, whether you might be able to think things through a little bit quicker or a little bit longer, than another person. Do you know what I mean? Those are kind of skills that we don't really think of as that can necessarily even be something that you could make a career out of or make a business out of. So, you know, it's interesting that you should say, you know, not necessarily looking at the physical things that you may be good at. So, yeah. The other question that we need to kind of really ask is, because this one is actually a big one for me as well, because I think that pertinent to me. What what if what if you're good at something but you don't actually enjoy doing it at all? What would you say to that? Because that's one of my biggest problems. I've put my hand in a lot of things and I've actually can be quite successful at it, but it's just not what I like to do. So how would you advise people and bring them through that kind of scenario?
Okay, well, that question right there is going to cause me to give away one of my secrets, one of my secret weapons. One of my secret weapons. That's a good question. Okay, so everybody grab your notepad, yeah? Grab your notepad for this one. All right. I'm hoping good. I'm hoping I'll blow you away with this one. Now, what if I was to tell you, Genevieve, that that thing that you said is your something you're good at, but you don't enjoy it? What if I was to tell you that that is your weakness? Would that make sense to you?
Oh wow. Go on, explain it to me.
I was reading a book by um, Mr. Buckingham. His first name escapes me at the moment. And this book was called The Truth About You. And within this book, this brilliant book, one of the gems, absolute gems that really blew me away was when he broke down what your strengths and what your weaknesses are. And he goes through talking about the fact that a person's strength is not necessarily something that they are good at. A person's strength is not necessarily what you are good at. So let me go into that a little bit more. He broke it down like this: as far as we're concerned, we're taught to believe that our strength is what we are good at. But as you've rightly identified, sometimes we can have a strength that we do not enjoy. Now, his proposal to this is that that is actually a weakness. Now, here's where you need to write this down. The best way to identify your strength is to answer these three questions. Ready? Question one is, does the thing that you, in regards to the search for your strength, yeah, does it, sorry, do you enjoy it? No, sorry people, here we go. Before you do it, are you looking forward to it? I'm doing this off the exactly how you word it. Do you enjoy it? Are you? Second point was, while you're doing it, are you enjoying it? And the third thing was, when it's over, are you looking forward to doing it again? You got that? No. So before you do it, are you looking forward to it? While you're doing it, are you enjoying it? And once it's over, are you looking forward to doing it again? Now, whatever activity fits into those three answers, as you know, as an affirmative, as a yes, or as a positive, that would be the better way of finding out what your strength is. Now, when he mentioned those three things, for me, that blew away any doubts that I had about whether PAD was something that I was passionate about. Because before a PAD event comes up, I'm always greatly looking forward to it. Whilst the event is taking place, I'm thoroughly enjoying myself, being able to help everybody else. And then after the event is over, I'm always looking forward to the next event. So from the time I was able to say that PAD answered those three things for me, I knew that being a motivational or inspirational speaker, and tying it in with progression and development was absolutely my strength. And likewise, your weakness would fall into a similar area. So if it's something that you don't look forward to doing, and if it's something you don't enjoy doing it while you're doing it, and likewise, when it's over, you're not looking forward to doing it again, his proposal is that it's your weakness. How does that suit you?
That's pretty much described my job. I'm joking. I actually do enjoy my job. I can't just it, but I feel probably a lot of people could concur with that statement. But yeah, I just think that is very, very interesting. It's given me a lot of food for thought, and I suppose working alongside that, you could kind of narrow down a lot what it is that you're supposed to be doing. But I suppose my thing is, okay, for example, you do progression and development, so you do public speaking and mentoring. So what if somebody wanted to do something like that, but they just wasn't very good at it?
That just comes down to delegating. Anything that's not your strength, if it's not your strength, you don't have to force yourself into trying to learn it. If you can learn it, that's all well and good. But if it's not your strength, stick to your strength and have delegate it to somebody else that has that as their strength. And that comes to team building. When you're looking for a team, you want to look for a team that have various different strengths. Ideally, people that bring something to the table that you may not be able to bring as effectively. It'd be great if you can do all of the roles, fantastic. So should an emergency come, you can be plan B. But if somebody is more skilled in web design, or somebody's more skilled in marketing, or somebody's more skilled in the administration, then delegate that, especially if it's something you don't enjoy or have the time for. Find somebody that has the passion and the skill to do it, and they will do it gladly for you. And that would then free you up to do what you need to do, and to take care of what you need to take care of, or focus on what you need to focus on.
Well, that's very interesting, because it seems like you just basically described what a business is, in terms of everybody having their roles and almost creating a system that can be run with a team of people, or even without you necessarily being there. So that brings me on to the point. What do you think about people getting into business? Would you say that in the time that we're in, we should be focusing more on maybe starting our own businesses, or is there still the potential to, have careers in the job market? Because I've spoken to a lot of people recently, and even myself, I've seen over the number of years since I've been in the job market, there has been, it's a lot harder to get into certain roles. And even, you see the statistics of all the people that are leaving university and not getting into jobs or the roles that they would thought they would want to get into, because they don't have the experience, or there's just not enough space. Is technology taking over? What do you think? Do you think business is the way forward? And yeah, I'll answer this question after.
Well, there's much that can be said on that, because it's not a one size fits all. I can't give a one type of answer that would suit everybody. Everybody as individuals have various different preferences. So within my answer, I would include or ask people to search for what feels right for them, from a point or from a position of analyzing where they are right now. So if you're already employed, fantastic, thumbs up, because you're in a position where you're currently you can currently have an income. But what I'd also encourage you to do is try and look for what your passion is, or if you have a goal or a dream of having your own business, then research it, find time, make time outside of your working hours to, even if it's 20 minutes a day, make time to try and research a field that you want to go into. And the more you can find out about that is the more you'll realize that, look, things are possible. And I really do believe that there are solutions for everything. There are solutions for everything. It's just that many solutions are difficult to find. So there are solutions to everything, but many of them are hard to find. So, and I was also reading a book by a guy named Daniel Priestley. He wrote a book, and this guy is someone that I believe Julian Hall knows as well. And like Julian Hall, he's in the entrepreneur business. Now, Daniel Priestley wrote a book called The Entrepreneur Revolution. A great book. If any of you can want to write that down and look for that, it's a great book to read, especially if you want to be entrepreneurial. The Entrepreneur Revolution by Daniel Priestley. Fantastic book. He goes through the reasons why it's the right time to be entrepreneurial. It's the generation for entrepreneurialism or entrepreneurship. It's the time or the generation for people to develop themselves and start new ventures, new businesses, get out there. It's not as restricted as it was many moons ago, where it was difficult to start your own business. We see programs like Dragon's Den where people are trying to get funding and these kind of things and so on for their business ideas. But an entrepreneur can be very resourceful, and be independent and start their own thing, just by being creative and looking at different ways of making things happen for them. And within my workshop, I do cover going through some of these avenues as well. Many of the pointers were given or shared with me by my mentors, and some of them are from my own experiences as well. So there are solutions out there. You can start your own business, but if you're working already, you're fantastically in a position where you're already earning. So just use the spare time that you can create to discover more, to learn more, and find ways of being able to start your own business. And just to kind of also add, I remember one time when my son, he asked me a question one time. He said, "Dad, how do people get into a job, or how do they make money?" I don't know if he remembers. And I explained to him, it smells like something's burning. And I explained to him that people go for a job interview, and the whole process of getting a job, you try and be the best person there, and then you land a job, and then you get employed, and then they pay you a salary, and so on and so forth. And that was my natural response to him. And then I remember going to bed, and I had a dream. And the dream was really like the equivalent of a slap round the face, as if to say, why did you tell your son that that's the only way that you make money? Because you can make money by being creative. I recently went out with him. You probably saw the picture where I posted it of where we went to Kingston University with him. And we was talking about, I forget what we was talking about exactly, but it came to the topic of, oh yeah, that was it. We was laughing about the fact that his friend said to him, he wanted to sell him something that he had got for free. His friend got something for free and he wanted to sell it to him. So he was laughing about it, and I said, well, I mean, yeah, that's funny, but at the same time, that's entrepreneurial. If you're able to sell something that you got for free, that's fantastic. You're making 100% profit. And if you think about it, ideas that come to you are free. We get ideas. We get hundreds of ideas every day. but many of us don't act on them. But the ideas that we get come to us for free. It's what we do with the ideas that matters. So if you're a great artist and you can draw or you can paint, whatever you draw or you paint, the more detail you put into it is the more value that you add to it. The more colors that you put into it is the more value you add to it. And the fact that it's your creation, that your inspiration that you're putting down on paper or bringing into manifestation, people will pay you for what you have designed or what you've created. So it's cost you little or nothing, but you can make money from it. It's just the same for designing clothes or designing t-shirts. It's the same for baking cakes, you know, or anything like that. Whatever you can create, you can sell.
That is brilliant. Naima also put in the chat a good book to read is The Naked CEO. So if people want to write that down, do you know who it's by, Naima? I've heard of that book before. Yeah, I've literally like got pages of notes here, so I've lost actually my questions that I was asking, but that is brilliant. So I also wanted to ask you about, you have a couple of groups on Facebook, called your acronym of KNUW. Can you talk to us about your No groups? Or is it new? I said it the wrong way. Is it new or no? I say no, it's probably new, but yeah, new, and acronym KNUW.
30 minutes. Yes. So. Yeah, sorry about that. My wife was speaking to me. My dear wife was speaking to me a little while ago. My acronym for new. The reason I do have new groups, I pronounce it as new. Some people pronounce it as no. Some people pronounce it as canoe, and I've heard other variations as well. But yes, do pop online if you're a person that likes to join groups. Any group starting with KNUW is my group, and the reason that the groups are starting with those letters is because it reflects the way that I teach in my seminars and in my workshops. So the K and the N represent knowledge, the U represents understanding, and the W represents wisdom, because that's the formula that I teach by. Knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. There used to be a time when I thought all three of them were the same thing, but they were just different words for the same thing, until I was made wise that they are different. And the difference is that knowledge is information, understanding is the comprehension, and wisdom is the application. So it's possible for a person to know something but not understand it. And likewise, it's possible for somebody to know something, understand it, but not apply it. And there's an example in the Bible where there was an Ethiopian eunuch who was reading some text. He was reading some ancient scripture, but whilst he was able to read it in the language it was written, which was in Hebrew, it was written in Hebrew. He could read it, but he did not understand what it was talking about, or who it was referring to, or the fact that it was a prophecy, or how it was going to transpire. So it was only when a gentleman named Philip came along, who was able to explain to him what the scripture was about. He brought about the understanding to the Ethiopian, and helped the Ethiopian to understand the information, or to understand what was written. But then the Ethiopian who now at this point understood what he had read, he then said, well, how can I apply this? What's stopping me from applying this information? Let me deal with this now at this point here. So he was once he understood, he was ready and willing to apply. what he now knew and understood. So for me, it's teaching in that formula, providing the information to people, helping them to understand the information, and then coaching them with, or encouraging them or inspiring them to apply what they now have discovered and understand.
Wow, that is beautiful. So, guys, if you're on Facebook, make sure you check out the acronym KNUW groups. He has loads of different topics, and each group will relate to all the information. If you want to know about what's going on in the news, because I don't watch the news at all, so most of my information comes from either Martin's book or what's trending on Facebook.
Yay!
If you want to know, he has a loads of different. He has New Love. Name a couple of the other ones, Martin, that you have.
So there's Time and Money. There's music. There's new music. There's New Family and Values. There's New History, Black Future, which is to do with Black history 24/7, rather than just being a Black History Month page. It's one where it talks about Black history throughout the year. There's also New Entertainment. There's also New Church and Worship, and a number of others as well. There's quite a lot.
Brilliant. Now, really, I just got to really just ask the listeners, because they're probably just dying to find out, how do we get to one of your seminars?
Probably one of the best ways to get to my seminar is to either follow my page on Facebook, which is facebook.com/progression and development. That's probably one of the best ways. And then you can follow my page. So everything, all my seminars will be promoted through there, as well as on my direct Facebook page. You can follow me on Twitter, which is at Pad and Pen, or at PADN for November, PEN, PADNPEN, Pad and Pen. Or you can follow me on, or subscribe to me on WhatsApp. Probably is another effective way. I've got a Pad Academy group, so if you would like to be included into my Pad Academy group, which is very exclusive to my WhatsApp followers, you can send your request to me, and I will add you in there. Where you'll not only be exposed to the exclusivity of my events, you may be able to tap into some discounts. You may be able to tap into resources and networking, and you'll also have some fantastic inspiration, motivational pictures, and some great discussions and such like as well. So my number is 07860.
Martin, I was just about to say, go and put your number on YouTube, because there's a lot of it.
That's true. Good point.
I suggest that what people do is probably connect with you on one of the social medias, and then
that's probably better. Yes.
Yeah, they can get in contact with you. So when's your next event?
This year I'm kicking off with the workshop. So my workshop starts this Saturday, 21st of January, and that's going to be between 3 and 5 p.m. So the details for that, likewise, you can find that on my Facebook page. And once you pop onto my Facebook page, you can get to join the workshop. The workshop is £30 per session, and you'll be exposed to fantastic words of wisdom. It'll be oh, I see you've got it up there now. Great. Yeah. So at this workshop, this is where your journey to a new you would begin. It's an absolutely dynamic journey. And you know what was actually quite humbling? What I found was that there was people that have actually been through this workshop already that have said to me, Martin, look, when is it going to start again? Because I want to do it again. And that in itself just blows me away. To know that somebody has been through the workshop already, qualified, received their certificate, and they still want to go through it again. It actually blew me away. But yeah, so that's the request, and they will be in for a treat, because as much as they will be going through it again, there is new information. There will be new sources of wisdom and nuggets to give out. So they won't be just hearing the same old thing. They'll be hearing what they heard plus more. And that's the reason why I've expanded it out over 9 sessions instead of the 3 sessions that I had it in before. It was very compact before, but now I've expanded it out so we can enjoy it a lot more. So it starts this Saturday from 3 till 5 in Streatham. The details are all there as you're posting it, Jen.
Okay, so if you hopefully it will go to my screen very hold on.
Seminars will start later on in the year. So the formula for my seminars are usually one where I host it and I have at least 3 other guest speakers to speak on their area of profession. And I would have at least one person performing, either singing or performing spoken word. And there's usually provisions of refreshment provided, and networking opportunities, and people that have tables where they can sell products or services as well. That is at the PAD seminars. The workshops now, such as the one that's starting this Saturday, is a one-man show. So it's just me, where we're able to learn, discover new things, find our uniqueness, discover our value, and increase our worth on a journey that will just transform people's lives and inspire them in ways that they've never seen before.
Brilliant. So if you're interested in attending that event, guys, go to eventbrite.co.uk. Unlocking, well, PAD, Unlocking Potential Workshop 2017, and you can purchase your tickets. It's going to be held at the Tate Streatham Library, 63 Streatham High Road, London, SW16 EN. So I'll just leave that on the screen there for a moment if anyone wants to get that information.
Yeah, or they can pop onto Eventbrite direct.
Yeah, I'll just go straight onto Eventbrite and just look up. That would probably be the easiest thing. Right. Just come back off screen share now. How is all technology, eh?
Yeah, good.
Right, so before I let you go, Martin, I just want to ask you, throughout our conversation, you've made a lot of references to, your faith and your belief in God, being a God-fearing Christian man. I do feel that there is a lot of backlash that is going on against Christians and Christianity. In this day and age, the religion in general. So what do you have to say about how important your faith is and how it has actually influenced or helped you in, the lifestyle that you lead and the decisions that you've made in progression and development and all the things that you're doing at the moment?
A number of things come to mind in regards to that. I'd probably start by saying it was a very wise man who is now departed, named Miles Monroe. Dr. Miles Monroe fantastic teacher, inspired me in many ways, and one of those ways was that he really kind of brought it home to me that we as Christians, really, many of us have missed the mark on understanding who our Savior really was. You know, we profess to be Christians, but sometimes our Christianity is founded in what we've been taught by other people, or you know, what we've heard said over and over, and we've not searched the scriptures ourselves to find out if you know how it goes, or what the context of the familiar passages are. And because of that, because we've not done our own searching, and we've just followed what certain leaders have said, we don't really get to discover who Christ really was for ourselves. So for that reason, many of us don't really represent Christ effectively, and in not representing him correctly, it kind of does ourselves a disservice sometimes. And that's just one of the areas. There's so many other areas, such as some believers not getting on with other believers, and the fact that there is no perfect assembly that you can go to that is doing things that ticks every box, so to speak, because it is run by human beings, so traditions will come into it, and so on and so forth, and these can affect the way that Christianity is portrayed, and then it's not also helped by the fact that there's various different denominations. Although this could be, depends on how you view it, it could be viewed in a positive light, to say, well, because there is a Baptist and there's a Methodist and there's a Anglican and so on and so forth, it will cater to various different people's preferences, which can be a good thing. But if we're all saying the same thing, then that's all well and good. But that said, I mean, the fact that some of the many different assemblies have different views and doctrines and so on and so forth, yes, that is or can be an issue, but I think we have more things going for us than going against us, so we should really unite more on that basis. So yeah, those are the kind of things that can give us bad light, and also if it's the thing where a person is not adjusting well to the change in the times, as in if we're very old-fashioned in a modern world, we can be seen as being out of sync. The Bible, especially the King James Version, uses very, very old English. And to somebody that doesn't know about the Bible or the old English, so to speak, we would be literally speaking another language if we're talking to them about things such as justification and salvation and condemnation and these kind of terminologies, and speaking to them about sin and these kind of things. And if they don't understand what we're talking about, it would really be going over their head. And whilst we think we're doing the right thing or a good thing by preaching to them in this style, we're being less effective or counterproductive because we're not adjusting to them. It was Paul that said, I became all things to all people that I could save some. And for me, that means that you've got to be able to be adaptable. You've got to be able to know how to speak to a young person on his level, not be fake, as in pretending to use street terminologies and so on to be hip with them. No, you've got to be real, but speak to them on a level that they can understand, and be willing to meet them where they're at, or if it's just like in the business world, if you're walking into a business meeting, if I'm going into a room, I know how to speak very well. If I'm going into certain parts of South London, I know how to speak to them there, and so on and so forth. It's about being adaptable to whoever you're speaking to, and if you're not adaptable, you won't be productive. So those are some things that can go against us.
Yeah, try and live in the Midlands and speak South English and see how adaptable it gets. I get taken a bit out of what about my accent all the time down here. It's just really awful. You know what? At least they know where I'm from.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
I've got a question in the chat. If you could sum up your seminar in one word, what would it be?
Oh, that's got to be fantabulous.
I love that.
I can see you. I can see you wanted to write that down until you realized what I said, huh? Yes,
So his
PhD
top
seminars in one word. It's got to be
I don't know what
fantabulous.
that means. You need to come and find out because it's fantabulous.
Yeah, it's fantabulous. Yeah, seriously. Seriously,
Brilliant.
I'm very much big on content. I value content. I feel that when people come to a seminar such as PADs, they need to go away leaving with new mindset, a new perspective. They've got to go away leaving better off than they came. They have to. And I've been to seminars where, you know, it's all this, you know, they put on this big show and this big performance, and really it's kind of like a big bag of air. You know, it's like you're not really giving people something that they can grasp. Just to give an example, like when I did the New Love seminar, which I still love to this day, which I've not got around to doing a part two to, but the part two idea that I've got out here, oh my life, when that comes to fruition, that's going to be so amazing. But New Love was really an opportunity to cover so many grounds, because love is a that far too many don't, and so many singers write songs about love, or what love is about. You know, it's just from their perspective, or like as I put it, I learned about love, or what I thought I knew about love was what I learned from what I saw on TV or on soap operas. You know, and that isn't love. That is not love at all. You don't find love on TV or on programs and so on. That's just all fake stuff, you know. It's all made up. It's all stories. It might even be based on reality, but even still, love is under, what's the word? What do I want to say? It's not. We don't know enough about love, and we're restricted by the word love itself, because the fact we translate so many other words into the word love. Meaning, if you go back into the word into the Greek definitions, they've got numerous of what types of love there are, and we group them all together into the one word love, and it's just a melting pot for mayhem. So I like to expand these things and open these things up to people so that they know more about love and how it should be applied.
Brilliant. I would say that the New Love is definitely fantabulous. And Naima has written in the chat that you are fantabulous. So, so we're coming up with loads of new words. So
Good.
Martin is fantabulous. Fabulous. Brilliant. Well, Martin, we're coming to the end of the show now. I think I've taken up enough of your time. Just want to thank you so much for coming on Genevision Media and sharing some, some great tips that we're definitely going to take away and, mull over over the next couple of days, weeks, months. As you know, it's the start of the year, so Martin is going to be putting on some workshops and some seminars, so look out for those. The first one is on Saturday. I'll put the information in the description, so if you're interested. Also, guys, join his groups and his pages, Progression and Development, and all the acronyms of KNUW. if you type in KNUW in Facebook, you're more likely to come up with all of his groups. So make sure you check those out so that you can stay in touch with what he's doing in the future. And as I say to you guys all the time, support the page, subscribe. Subscribe to Genevision Media on YouTube. Also click the bell button next to subscribe so that you can see when we are coming on live, because our Let's Talk show is done live. We've also got a group in Facebook called Let's Talk Online Interviews, Discussions and Debates. You can join the group and it's very interactive. You can ask questions, post things, interesting things that we can discuss, and maybe we'll even take them to a live stream. Also, we have our Facebook page, Genevision Media, which can be found obviously on Facebook. So yeah, guys, please support. And I always say this show is for the people, by the people. So if you know somebody or you yourself would like to come on and have something to share with us that can, can empower people or provide information, or if there's a burning topic that you'd really like to discuss, and you would like a forum that is you're able to actually get your point across, and we're not going to be shouting and screaming over each other. We're going to have a cordial discussion, because we're mature people. Get in contact with us either by the Facebook page, or you can email us at Genevision Media, GENEVISION media@gmail.com. I believe, I'm going to do a video very soon about why I've chosen to do my logo with an eye, because I'm getting a lot of people asking me that question. And no, I haven't joined the Illuminati, and no, I'm not a part of the LGBT community where I have multiple colors on my name, but I will explain it very soon, so you'll get to know the deeper meaning of, because I do everything I do has a depth of meaning. So I'll share that with you guys so that you can understand, because it's kind of funny. So any more questions? Thank you, Naima. So Naima said, great show, nice talking with you again. And they were having their own discussion in the chat, Martin. They were giving tips and everything. And Naima said, Martin, you're doing the most, push through, bro. So keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully, we'll get around. We'll get around to people on the internet, and you can connect with new people. And I'm sure that you're going to help a lot more people, because you definitely helped me. You definitely helped a lot of people around us. So I just want to thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Okay. So, all right, peace out, guys.
To help people.
Yeah. So, say that again.
I said it's my goal. It's my goal to help you, and the King put it, great leader serves. I love to serve. I love serving other people. I love to help others. So it is my ambition and goal to develop those who want to see progression and grow, and convincingly show you all you have a vision to mold. So it's a pleasure for me to do what I do, and